Hi guys, today we are diving into one of the most powerful hook in React, the use effect hook. If you ever wondered how to manage side effects like fetching data or directly manipulating the DOM, use effect is the tool that you need. Let's break down some simple steps with few practical examples. So, what exactly is use effect? Use effect is a hook that lets you run side effects in function components. Side effects can be things like, let's say, fetching data from an API, setting up subscriptions, manually updating the DOM, or even cleaning up some resources. In class components, you might have used component did mount, component did update, or component will mount, unmount for these tasks. But with function components and hooks, use effect is the one-stop solution for all these scenarios. The syntax of use effect is super simple. Let's take a look at the basic structure. In this example, the function inside use effect will run after every render. That's important to keep in mind. By default, use effect runs after every single render, including the first time the component mounts. Now you might not always want use effect to run after every single render, right? What if you only want it to run when certain values change? That's where the dependency array comes in. So let's modify our example to add a dependency. Here, the effect will only run when the count state changes. Notice, notice the empty array after the use effect function. That's a dependency array. You can list any state or prop variables inside it, and the effect will only run when one of those variables change. Sometimes you'll need to clean up after your use effect, especially when setting things up like subscriptions, timers, or event listeners. Luckily, use effect has a way to handle this. You can return a cleanup function from your effect, and it will run when the component unmounts or before the effect runs again on re-render. So for example, in this, we set up a timer using setInterval. The cleanup function which clears the interval ensures that we don't create multiple intervals if the component re-renders or unmounts. Now, what if we don't pass any dependencies at all? In that case, the effect will run after every render regardless of whether the state or props have changed. This is useful in very specific cases but can lead to performance issues if overused. Always be mindful of how often you use your side effects. Now, before we wrap up, let's go over some quick best practices. So we should always avoid unnecessary effects. If you don't need your effect to run on every render, always use a dependency array. And try to avoid complex logic inside your effect functions. If your effect does too many things, it can become hard to debug. And finally, if your effect sets up something like an event listener or a timer, always provide a cleanup function to avoid memory leaks. And that's all for use effect. I hope you liked the video and make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.